Hey guys, DeathClock Dave here, and welcome to another Wednesday night live stream battle report recap. So before we get into things, I just wanted to make a quick announcement about AttackX coming up here in Kamloops, British Columbia on September it's 14th, 15th, and 16th. So that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Friday, we are running Champions. On Saturday, Sunday, we are running Masters. Both of those are Iron Gauntlet qualifiers, so you can get some points there. One of the great things about the event is it actually lands on the same weekend as WTC, so a lot of the big name players are actually going to be away. They will not be at AttackX, so it's a good opportunity to earn those points. AttackX also has tons of other great events, so we've got Age of Sigmar and 40K. Magic the Gathering was recently added. Basically every game system you can think of. There's some X-Wing and Legion type stuff, so the Star Wars stuff is there. They have a whole floor that they do for RPG type stuff, so super awesome event.
And a buy-sell area.
Yes, and a buy-sell area, which is really cool. So you can actually, there's a room where you can post your stuff for sale. AttackX sells it on your behalf and takes a bit of a cut to cover the cost of the room, but allows you to get that exposure and potentially sell your stuff that you're wanting to sell. So awesome event. Kamloops is beautiful in September. It's quite warm. September is usually very nice. It's not too far of a drive depending on where you're from, whether it be Vancouver or Seattle, surrounding areas, and it's quite cheap to stay in Kamloops as well for accommodation. So definitely check it out. Check out the website. Tickets are on sale now. Love to see some folks out. I'll be recording there and streaming from there and also playing in the events. We also do lots of fun Warmachine Hordes stuff in the evenings, things like team tournaments, spell draft, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's a really great time. So into the match. So we had postponed this match from last week. So we have Pat Badminton playing his Trollbloods, and I am playing my Convergence. So Pat, what was your pairing this evening?
My pairing was Grissel2 in Storm of the North,
all right,
and Borka2 in Power of Dunia.
All right, and I was playing my Locke and Iron Mother, both in Destruction Initiative. Pat, what did you choose to play this evening and why?
I chose Grissel2 in the Storm of the North because, quite frankly, seeing the scenario and the fact that it's the two big zones, which you need units to score.
Yep.
Yeah, my Grissel2 list is kind of dude spammy.
Yeah,
so
Mirage is pretty huge for dude, and there's a lot of scoring elements for sure.
Exactly.
So I chose Locke. I thought maybe he was going to choose Borka because Iron Mother kills infantry like there's no tomorrow. It's quite a good list for that. And I like Locke if he did choose Borka because I can purify off his counter charge stuff. I was also comfortable with Locke against Grissel just because I wanted to be able to get Jax into the champions and take them out. So with Mirage, we have 2 circular zones which can be controlled by Warcaster Warlock units. We have 2 objectives. We both chose the healing objective, and then we have 3 flags which are kind of spread diagonally across the board that can be controlled by Warcaster Warlock solo. So many scoring elements in this scenario. Very easy to score points early. And it can be difficult to contest in a meaningful way if you don't have a high model count or stuff that's super tough or high defense. So just looking at the table here, I'll talk a little bit about my deployment first, and we'll talk about the terrain after you can kind of see it a bit better. So I wanted to make sure Locke was central. I wanted to make sure that she could either move sideways to be behind that wall or partially behind the forest while being in a commanding presence in the center of the board. I wanted to make sure her feet could spread out as far as possible. I've got the corollary with her. I wanted to make sure that both of my inverters were in range to get red line, so that I could decide after his deployment. So Pat won the roll and decided to choose the board edge. Any particular reason for that decision?
Yes, I actually did that because of the number of units I have. Unfortunately, I have a pair of champions in this list, And they don't have Pathfinder naturally, and I didn't have a way to give them Pathfinder. Right. So
you got Relentless Charge from Scaldy, but that's only on
on charges, and that's only one unit. Yeah, so I figured I'd err on the side of caution and take the side with a little less forest, a little less tricky terrain.
Yep, and you having the advantage units-wise, definitely that going second can be good there as well. So
exactly, I wanted to control how the scoring went back and forth.
Gotcha. So I wanted to make sure that my assimilator was toward my left flank, so that I could get him in such a place where I could drop the ground pounder on the flag. So with ground pounder, you don't have to see the whole target; all you have to see is part of the AOE. So I wanted to be able to do that to try to potentially clear it out. I also wanted to be getting some damage on champions as soon as possible. From there, on my right flank, I've got the corollary with Locke. I've got the diffuser relatively central. I've got another inverter so that he can be in range for red line, so I can put red line on depending on where Pat deploys. And then I have the conservator on the far right flank, just to provide some beef on that side, and then a smattering of solos. And I also have an arc node on the left and right flank. So just talk about the terrain quickly here now that we're set up. So on the bottom flank, or the very bottom, we've got a hill. Above that and to the right we have a wall. Above that we have a forest. In the center of the table we have a house. Above that we have another forest. To the left of that we have water. Below that we have rubble, which is rough terrain and cover. And then we have another forest. So I apologize for the AC, guys. It'll be going on and off as we play, because it is very hot in here.
And the two rings that are on my side of the table, those are snowdrift terrain, they're a benefit of my theme, which lets me put them anywhere within 2 inches of the rear of my table
within
edge.
20 inches even. 2 inches would be great.
Yeah, within 20 inches. And any models without immunity cold treated as rough terrain, while models with immunity cold gain concealment while completely within them.
All right. And how did you deploy here, Pat?
I deployed with Grissel being fairly central, with a Mauler on one side of her and a Brawler on the other. The Axe are close enough to maybe be able to speed up his big brothers when needed. And I put the stone right in behind them to keep the armor pocket fairly central. Meanwhile, I set up champions on each side so I could be able to give and take as much as I needed to. It was my first game with the Raiders, so I got to actually advance deploy them. I knew I was going to speed them up and make sure that I use them as a good roadblock, so I wanted them as close as possible. And at the end, I put Valka down at the bottom because I wanted him to be standing in that snow shroud to gain the concealment while contesting the flags, because I wanted to make it as hard as possible for Dave to get rid of that, because I wanted the points. They are mine.
Makes sense, and it is a big scenario for points for sure. So I started my turn. I kept all of my focus, because Locke, if your placement is right, you can actually get all of her upkeeps up on the first turn, which costs 7. And your corollary can hand out 1 focus. It can fuel your entire line for running, and then it can fall back to your corollary after they've all run. So I was able to get my upkeeps out, fuel my entire line, and have that focus go back to my corollary. So I got Sentry on the Cypher. I really wanted some rough terrain templates out there. I put red line on my far right inverter. And I put Road to War on Locke. And here I'm basically just running everything up. I moved Locke up to start being in kind of the center of the board, so she can go left or right if need be for defensive reasons. And I want to just run my stuff up. I wanted to be outside of his shooting range, just so I didn't get shot on the first turn, because you can technically throw for... Is it 14 or 16 inches or something?
My Mauler's got a good range for throwing stuff if he wants.
Yeah, well, but your Raiders in the front are, I think, 16 with your movement buff. So taking POW 14s to the face on the first turn, even if I'm shield guarding them off, I don't want to be losing those shield guards.
Yeah, it turns out really fast Raiders throwing bombs 8 inches is really fun for the troll, but not so much for his opponent.
Yep. So it just kept everything out of range there. Move stuff up so that it could be threatening on the following turn. Moving my servitors up so that I can be in run range of his of the zones and the flags, just so that I can be contesting. He can pretty trivially kill them, but it means that he's not scoring on my turn effectively. So, Pat, how's your first turn playing out here?
Well, for my first turn, I've got to change up my usual playing style a bit, because what I need to do here is, with my stone having a Northkin Elder, I can give all my Northkin models a +1 speed boost.
So all Northkin warrior models.
Yeah, all Northkin warrior models. And with, I know all Northkin models.
Sorry.
So including my brawler who is a Northkin beast.
Gotcha.
And between that and Grissel having dash, I can potentially give them a +2 speed boost.
Right, it's dash that's warrior models.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And with this list making everyone Northkin, that means you can have some pretty fast champs.
Yep. So all of
So what I had to do first, I had to move up my brawler first to make a little bit of room, so that way I could get Grissel up to put her to. I was originally going to put the speed on her, but seeing how quickly you were coming up and with how advanced deployment got my raiders up so close, I decided to redirect my Fury a little bit because she's only a Fury 6 caster. So I put up deflection instead to give my guys the better chance of the defenses.
Yeah, that's the better
exactly,
call,
because Dave's got a lot of shooting in his list.
Yeah.
So I decided to do that instead and put the extra focus into the stone, which turns out was a really good thing because, my stone was very sleepy today.
Yes, it was glorious, rolling all the ones.
Yes, it was. So then I start moving up everyone to, I move up the stone to make sure that I get the raiders in, because that's the key. Because I want, with the elder, want to make sure that the raiders get in to get that speed boost, especially on the first turn.
Yeah.
Because the further up I can set the line of engagement, the more comfortable I will feel.
Yeah. Especially in this scenario.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. And then sort of the same deal with the champions on both sides. I end up moving them up to make a nice line up near the front. But just first off, now that I got my raiders all super speeded up, I get to get them right up there, and I'm quite pleased that with running and the fact that they have Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They go crazy fast.
So I tell Pat I'm going to countercharge him just to mess with him, and then I tell him I don't have countercharge. And
I tell him I should. But yeah, because right here, my raiders are up to a speed 7.
Yeah.
So that means I get to run 14.
Yep.
So that's pretty much means I get to engage you right off the bat. Well, I'm not attacking, but I'm still clogging up his precious little machines.
Yeah, and they're high enough defense that it gives a bit of a pain in the butt. I wasn't too concerned about the raiders because I saw them as glorious Road to War procs. So that was my thought.
Well, I know what they're there for. They're jammed with some coincidental attacks now and then. And here I got
Valka,
runs right up.
The glorious Valkyrie lady, who's not actually a lady. I call her actually a woman the whole game long. I thought.
Yes, he does.
I thought it was a female, so I apologize, internet. But she's on the flag in a snowbank.
Him and his sexist racism. So yeah, I moved Valka up, just ran straight into that snowdrift to get the concealment and be able to hold the flag. Move up my champions in between the forest and the rubble, because as I said before, I don't have a way to give them Pathfinder, so I got to be careful. And you got to keep them base to base so they get the nice defense bonus and no knockdown.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I was thinking might have been I guess I could have potentially got stuff if I ran, but on the first turn, having them base to base grouped up like that, especially when I have a ground pounder, might not be the best call. But I was quite happy that you put them there because I could hit all of them with one ground pounder. But I could have potentially cleared away and got a jack to them, and then it starts becoming a problem.
Of course, the thing is, while they're in their defensive line, yes, it's a +2 defense against melee attacks, but most importantly, against the range, cannot be knocked down.
Yeah, exactly.
And that for trolls is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Especially with the Sanguine Bond letting me spread it out.
Yeah.
That just makes it so much better.
So I think you put Rush on him and.
Yep, I did. Yeah. I used my Axer to put Rush on my Mauler and measured it out, and that actually got him just past the rough terrain, which meant he was officially out in the open now, and he could clearly run wherever he wanted to or needed to later on.
Gotcha.
So now I was back over to Dave.
All right, so here I got to try to figure out how to clear as much stuff as possible. I knew I wanted to get a ground pounder on. He had grouped up the champions nicely so that I could hit all of them. So here I'm doing my sentry shot with my Cypher, doing flare to try to land. It's only Rat 5 versus your current def of 14, but it's a free shot, and if it scatters well, then it did scatter onto one of the raider dudes. So
yeah, poor
that
Dave,
was good
just
at least.
So desperate to pound whatever he can with the ground.
Gonna pound you into the ground, Pat. You're dead. So here I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. So Road to War is a big thing. I wanted to make sure that I was outside of the charge range of the champs. So the champs scare me more than the beasts in this matchup because the champs can get a lot of work done without proccing my feet. So I wanted to try and reduce their numbers, if at all possible, before I feat, because the beasts, in order to get really anything done, they're having to spend those resources, which gives me the feat tokens. I knew this was going to be feat turn just for where everything was going to land in terms of it being kind of the center of the table. So was going to try and take out some of the raiders in the front, and I needed to put some contesting models in Pat's zone and near enough to Pat's flag so that he wasn't going to just score without having to do anything on his turn. And then I wanted to leave a solo on my flag so that it was going to force him to move forward to contest, because I figured I was going to be able to kill the two raiders at the top corner of the house there. So it took me a fair while to figure out where I wanted my focus to be. Because of where my line was, my jacks are pretty far away from each other in order to get the work done that I wanted them to do. And I should have just kept the focus, killed kind of what was in front of me, and tried to make sure I was out of range of the champs. My plan was to make sure that the Cypher could drop I wanted to drop a flare shot in the middle of the champs to hit as many as possible, so my ground pounder was going to be more effective. And I wanted to drop a rough terrain kind of right in front of them so that it was going to keep them back, because their max threat with your movement shenanigans ends up being 11. So if I can put rough terrain in front of that unit, that's the unit that does not have Scaldy, so they have no way to gain Pathfinder, and it will slow them down.
They've only got the regulars because speed 5 champs plus the 2 between dash and the Northkin Stone gets up to speed 7. Pretty crazy. Yeah, so here I've moved up my Cypher. He's just outside of the 1-inch range of the Raider in front of him, and he's dropping that lovely flare AoE, so I hit a good number of them. And then here I'm dropping the rough terrain as well. Or I already dropped the rough terrain, so the circle that's there is the rough terrain. Here I can get a glorious ground pounder, which hits all 5 champs, plus the Raider in the middle of the circle there, plus the Mauler. Not that I was expecting to do much on the Mauler, but POW 13s. A little bit sad because with deflection, even with flare, you're still 12, so I need 7s to hit. And I've only got 3. You end up missing 3 of them. Yeah,
I've got three focus, so I have to, and I want to be boosting the damage because you're 18 armor, right? So I have to save it. It's dice off 5. I want to try to get as much damage on there as possible. So I hit some of them, but I miss at least 2 or 3 because 7s are hard. And I work on boosting the damage. I think I kill 1 champ. All right, I roll pretty high on one of them.
Yeah, thanks to Sanguine Bond, I spread out the damage.
There, dice off 5, so it's 11 damage.
Yeah, so for the 11, that's where it's just like, you know what, it's not worth it spreading out the damage, and just take him right off. So take him off after you're going to roll for the tough.
You failed the tough.
Exactly. Because that's something I've learned with the champions and the Sanguine Bond. Is sometimes you got to know when's just better to just let up one guy.
Well, that's a lot. Yeah, 11 is quite a lot to spread out because they only have 5 boxes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So here I've done my Road to War. I moved my Galvanizer up. And
I gotta say, Road to War is a really fun spell.
It's glorious. You really have to. It takes a lot of practice to kind of figure out where stuff needs to land, but having that 3-inch of non-linear threat extension is really, really nice. So here I'm moving up. I cast Engine of Destruction. Oh no, this is the Corollary first. Oh no, that was Locke. So the Corollary had gone up and handed out some focus. Locke spent 2 for Engine of Destruction, and that puts her to, so she gets 2 extra speed is a big thing. Her mat goes up to 4, so all of my jacks become mat 9. I've got her in behind the house there.
Doesn't your rat as well?
No, just the mat. Just the mat. Otherwise, she would have gone first before the other dudes. So she's got 2 focus camped, and she has feeded. I figure she's pretty safe behind the house there because I have hindered where I know the champs can't get to me with the rough terrain in front of them. And then I ran a elimination servitor just in front of her just to kind of block where things could get in. and here I'm just figuring out where I'm going to move stuff to try and kill a couple of raiders. So, there I think I had. This is the.
I think that was another flare there.
Oh, this is one of the flare bots.
You flared, but it missed. But it only scattered by an inch.
I think it scattered on the 2 there, so that was a flare bot, just to drop those raiders down because they are def 15 without the flare against shooting, and I do have the elimination servitors.
Thanks to deflection.
So I wanted the elimination servitors to be able to get some work if possible. I ran.
Oh, he wanted his balls to work.
Yep. So I proxied it out to put. So Valka, being the glorious lady that she is, has countercharge. So I wanted to put a servitor within 4 inches of the flag, but outside of 3 inches of line of sight. So I was able to put him in such a way that I was contesting, but she couldn't see for the countercharge. So contesting there, so I don't have to worry about him scoring with. He's at least going to have to do something for it. It's not a lot, but it's something. So here I move my
minimum effort.
Yes.
Way to go.
I move my inverter. I just shuffle him back a little bit to make sure he's not in charge range. So where the wall or where the house is, I want to make sure he couldn't get charged by champs. And then I'm swinging at the raiders. So I hit the first one, no problem. I think I missed the second one, and then I bought.
So you bought, and then I'm
at 9 versus 15 effectively. So killed there, and Road to Warring my Conservator up a little bit.
Road to War, I gotta say, it's a really tricky spell when it's your opponent has it, because there are several times during your turn I was starting to figure out parts of what my turn would be, and then suddenly he Road to War and things would change, and that changes the plans.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you now that's when you kill the other raider.
Took him out, and Road to. I think this is where I Road to War back slightly.
You're trying to make sure that my champions can't get you because you're really nervous about those.
Well, they can get so much work done without proccing my feet. That's the big thing. I don't want POW 14 weapon masters that are going to hit me no problem charging in. So my plan was to deny the charge lane and put at least one servitor kind of in the way so that they couldn't just get to me without having to work for it. So.
And normally they're only POW 12, but with the Northkin Elder, I can give them a +2 strength because they count as Northkin in this list.
Yeah. Which might not have been. So is that only while you're in the bubble?
No, that's a Theme Forest bonus.
Right, but if you for the strength you have to be in the stone
bubble.
Yes,
I do have to be within the.
So I might have even been far enough away there that you wouldn't have been able to get it. But
it just depends on how much I put into the stone.
Yeah. So,
but that would have definitely been at the edge.
Yeah. So here I've Road toward a couple of things. I've got my Grievous Wounds Galvanizer move forward, swinging at the knocked down raider just to take him out. I thought about charging Valka initially just to put a Galvanizer there to make him work to get rid of it, but she's got Retaliatory Strike and she's a Weapon Master and she's high mat anyway. So
yes, he is, and we did roll it out afterwards and found that that Valka, he would have destroyed your precious little Jack.
Yeah, if I had just run in, it might have been okay, but it's still potentially throwing away a Jack. I need to work on the galvanizers because that's what they're there for. They're kind of the throwaway model.
They weren't you didn't quite use them as well as you could have in this game. You're a little cautious with them.
For sure. So yeah, I've got the feet up, just kind of figuring out where I can put stuff to make sure I'm not going to be hopefully retaliated on too terribly. I moved up the Conservator a bit with Road to War up by my flag, still outside of 11 inches. So I wasn't going to get charged by champs. One of my mistakes is that my Galvanizer is pinched in a bit where the Cypher is, and I should have just ran him to jam up the champs, because then they would have had to pretty much have that entire unit would have had to just deal with the Galvanizer, which would have effectively locked them down. So
and now I enter the mighty. Now we go to my turn, and I enter the mighty think tank of doom.
Yep. So it's hard to see what the clock is at right now, but Pat's
right about now, I think it was about 42 on me, and you were down to about 24
or something. Yeah. So what's your thought process here, Pat? What are you trying to do?
First off, I started thinking about the scenario, because with the scenario this live, you've got to keep in mind the points. this many flags, this many zones. You know, you gotta keep in mind.
There's a lot of elements.
I realized that Velka is can easily hold on to that one, and I can take out that ball nearby, get a point there. He's got one ball that he put into my champions at the top of the screen, which I can take him out several different ways. So that gets me 2 points. I could possibly try to run Grissel up and get her to the flag in the center. It'd be pretty dangerous position, but that would get me a potential 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
But as I get looking at the table, I start noticing just how thin Dave's forces are right in the middle of the table there. I mean, he's got his jacks pretty well spread out, like he's pointed out, and it started making me wonder. So I get thinking about ways that I could actually try to go for the actual assassination. Now, for a while now, I've been trying to train myself out of going for the early assassinations, but I started running the math in my head, and this one seemed a little too good not to try out. Now, you've got your feet up, which means you're going to get a token for every point of fury that I spend. And that, I got to take that into some serious consideration.
Yeah, she's in such a spot where it covers your entire army, so that even your stone activating and doing their stoniness is going to give me the points as well.
Exactly. So I start measuring out. I think my best bet is to get the Mauler in there and to get the melee attack, because Maulers. I mean, any troll player or anyone who's fought trolls will tell you Maulers can do some serious work. That's one of my favorite war beasts. I try to take them whenever I can because, I mean, Fury 5 with all
Rage
those attacks,
is huge.
Rage, yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, but I realize I'm going to need to give him the Pathfinder of Rush Animus from the Axer.
Yeah, because you need the speed to get there, and you're actually clipping. You'll be clipping the rough terrain.
I'm clipping the rough terrain you created, so I need the Pathfinder, and I need the speed. So that's going to give him one token to put on her, but that does save me the fury of having to charge.
Yes,
because it means I put her in walking distance.
Yeah.
The big thing though is Locke is a def 14. Maulers, they can have a little issue with the hitting part.
Yeah.
They're good, but they're not great. 14, that really had me on the cusp there. So as I got looking through it, and I did a little bit of checking here, as I realized Grissel, she has a really amazing gun.
She's got a great gun.
Oh, I love it.
Lots of things.
Her Fell Blast. I was particularly thinking about her Quake one, which on a direct hit against an enemy model, all models hit become knocked down. That's on a 3-inch AoE.
Yep.
So first I tried to measure it out using the radar, but I wouldn't get close enough. So I realized then I've got to shoot you right in the square in the ball. I got to quake that ball, and that'll have your lady down on her knees so fast.
Pudding, safe word.
So
we measured it out. You've got your proxy down.
Yeah, I've got my proxy down for where I need to get Grissel. And this is where I entered the tank pretty hard on this one because it's risky because I'm getting her up there pretty close.
So I've got an elimination servitor that is just barely within the 3-inch AoE radius to be hit. I am currently engaged. His Duder is engaging me, and I currently have cover from where he'd be landing. But she's ready to fire 3, right?
Yeah, she's ready to fire 3. But the big thing here is I need to get these raiders out of the way because they're in the way of my Mauler. The key to this is getting the Mauler in there. So I do a charge run order with them. So I charge 2 of my raiders charge your galvanizer. While the rest just sort of run past to, if nothing else, if this fails, well, then he's got to chew through all that troll meat. And
I don't have him engaged with my elimination servitor, so he's able to run away without taking my gunfighter attack. So.
Exactly.
So there's some runny goodness.
Which is also very important. So.
So there's some runs there. So now I have an unengaged elimination servitor
directly in front of her.
Directly in front of her within 3-inch AoE radius.
And my Mauler's got a beautiful runway to get right up there. So the big thing I got to do is I got to deal with that lovely little ball, which it's sort of the key here. So I got into the tank again just to double check my math in my head, figure out a few things. What I end up doing here is I end up moving up my stone and activating that, which I didn't realize that was one of the things that would trigger for your ability.
It's a spend, so I put one catalytic token on her right away.
My mistake. So I got.
So she's
I
15, 18 right now.
Yep, that's sneaky girl.
Yep.
So now that she's 15, 18, that just makes my Quake plan even more important. So after that, I say, you know what, enough of this. I move up the Brawler so that he can be in a good position to defend Grissel if something happens and this fails horribly. Because I want to cover all my bases. And then it's time. I move up my Rune Bearer to Harmonious Exaltate on Grissel to make her spells a little cheaper. Move her up to where we previously measured out she needed to be. Take the Quake shot. Hit.
So yeah, you needed a. I'm def 16, so you needed a 10. So you boosted. That gave me another token.
Giving him the token, but so this part was too critical not to. I accounted for this one. So I do that, and that takes it out. That hits. So kills the ball. But most importantly, knocks her down.
And unfortunately, my other servitors are just out of shield guard range, which would have been. She still has multiple shots after that, but. It would have been sketchy either way.
So after this, I look at the positioning. I've still got 3 Fury left. So after I end up casting.
You cast Rush.
Yeah, I cast Rush
on the Mauler.
On the Mauler, which gives
me another token. So I'm at.
So that means I can get my Mauler up there.
I'm 1720 currently.
Because that's your 3. Because I didn't realize at the time that he had a maximum of 3. I thought it just kept going. So I do that. I put 2 onto the stone to increase the stone's range. To give my Mauler that much more of a survival aspect if this fails. Because then he's dealing with an armor 22 Mauler. He is engaging his caster, and he's going to have to deal with that if this plan fails. So
and you feed it, of course.
Yes, and I feeded because her Grissel2's feat is great for these situations because it gives you unyielding, as well as also giving you reposition. So
Repo 3,
yeah, Repo 3, which I could have repoed Grissel, but I forgot to because I'm great at that. But if nothing else, I mean, it makes my Mauler that much harder and more importantly for something bad you got to deal with.
So I'm currently 1720, but I am knocked down. And I have 2 focus. So this is going to be it could go either way.
This is when it all goes down.
It's dice off 4.
Yeah, dice off 4. So. Luckily now, thanks to Rush, he's within walking range, so I walk up. I don't have to spend the Fury, so I can walk up. I just start going all at it. Now, the thing I love about the Mauler, if you hit with your first 2 initial attacks, then you get to do chain attack, grab, and smash.
Smash and grab,
Which in this case, I chose to basically grab Locke, pick her up, headbutt her, and drop her down. Now, I could have done a throw to throw her into the corollary behind her. But honestly, the reason I didn't at the time was I've had some bad experiences in the past with doing the throws. And if it gets just too far, because the Mauler at this point is exactly 1 inch away. So if you go even a quarter of an inch out, you're officially out of my range. So I admit I played a little safe here and just go for the headbutt for the strength 12.
So I'm watching for, so it's dice off 4. I'm watching for any spikes so I can spend that off on the with my focus.
And you do, because you've got your 2 focus, so you buy off 10 of the damage. Which was very good.
We had to go back and correct it initially because we thought it was dice off 3, but it's actually dice off 4, so we fixed that afterwards.
Yeah, we fixed that one. Luckily, at that point, only one of them had actually contacted. So.
And with 1 attack left, so it was Fury 5, so with the last attack, you did just 2 points of damage, which was just 1 more than what you needed for Locke. So if I had kept 1 more focus on her, or if I had been like a quarter of an inch back, if I hadn't had that that servitor there, then it would have been I think I would have been safe, because at that point I'm 1720.
My dice rolls were a little back and forth on there. They had a good one, a couple of bad ones, but it was close. Definitely, if you'd had one more, it would have saved you. And that would have made it a very different game. But nope. Sure enough, that's how it goes down. Locke, she. What can I say? Grissel quivered her balls. She fell down. And Mauler walked up and ate her, and it was good.
So we were talking about lots of the post kind of stuff of what I could have done differently if I had that. If that one servitor had been like a quarter of an inch different, then it would have taken the Quake off the table, which I would have been a lot safer, because def 17 and armor 20 is a lot. He's having to boost just to hit me at that point, and there were none of my other models close enough for him to like throw at me or get to me in such a way to knock me down that way.
Although and as we figured it out too, at this point too, if I'd even with that had failed, I still was in a position where I had enough attacks left over. I could have just taken care of what I needed to and scored at least 2 points on this.
Yeah, which would have put me back a bit. And then I think on my previous turn,
that would put you at 2-0 on the back foot.
Yeah, I think I should have run a galvanizer into your zone. Probably just run the other galvanizer up to engage Valka, and be there so that it takes a decent amount of resources. Because if I hadn't charged her, she'd only get 2 attacks, and then you're having to commit your champions. I don't think she can do it in just 2 attacks.
No.
And if you've done on the feet. Depending on where I put the feat tokens to, I could have put them on the galvanizer or whatever to kind of make them more a harder target, because then they go up to 15, potentially 15, 19. But I should have definitely used those as contesting pieces, because they get to be a pain to take care of. So.
Yeah, they're so cheap, and when the way you can power them up with that feat, it's definitely worth thinking about.
Yeah, they're really good contesting pieces.
Just power them up and send them in there, make them a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely should have done that. Mirage is a difficult scenario. You have to make sure you just really go in. And I could have gotten the Conservator on top up there too, in the face of the champions, preventing the charge, which maybe would have helped as well. So definitely, I think the moral of the story with Locke is to not get greedy with the feet. I could have been back probably at least 2 inches and still been in a spot where I would have caught all the things where I wanted to catch for his feet, and then I would have been completely safe. And then I could have just whittled away, and at that point, probably on my feet turn, put some stuff into his zone to contest, or run the red line inverter up to the brawler, for example, and at POW 22 be swinging at him with jackhammers, that sort of thing. So
exactly.
So definitely watch where your placement of Locke is. Make sure she's safe. This is the second time I've lost her from Assassination, because I had her just like an inch or 2 farther forward than I needed to have her. She's got a control range of 16 inches with a corollary, so no need to have her quite that far. And Road to War is huge. Definitely figuring out how you're going to proc Road to War, thinking about which models you're going to Road to War to get them into those positions. And the other thing is feat token placement is huge to make sure that you're making those
fighting against someone with Road to War, you've got to keep your plans a little bit on the loose side, because things are going to change even after. I mean, you have a model that's activated at the beginning of the turn, and then the last model activates, it triggers Road to War, and suddenly things are moving again. So it's you got to keep that in mind when you're doing your planning. Yeah, for sure. So I think if I hadn't been assassinated that turn, I would have tried to clear my zone. I don't think I would have had much problem killing the Mauler with the heavies, the 3 heavies that I have there. I probably would have tried to ground pounder the champs one more time, because you did not have deflection up this turn, right? No, and then I would have had to just run stuff up to get into the zones. I probably would have run a red-lined inverter. If he had run the champs up, I would have tried to use the Conservator to clear them up, and then probably run an inverter to get in 2-inch range of his caster, and then do the jackhammers to knock her down and hopefully take her out there. So yeah, definitely. If it hadn't ended on that turn, it definitely would have gone to a scenario, I feel. But overall, really good game. I learned a lot about COC and Locke, who is their newest caster, and she's
Locke
really cool.
is pretty great. She's got a lot of funkiness to her, a lot of stuff you have to kind of master, but she's got she can send jacks so far. I think it's 17 inches on the run jackhammer for the stompy heavy, so for the inverter, for example, because speed 4 with reach 2, and I think it's 18 inches for the conservator and the assimilator. The assimilator with red line goes to a POW 16 weapon master, and engine of destruction is MAT 9, which is huge. So.
And I got to learn some fun things about Grissel and her interactions with Storm of the North. The Northkin models, so much fun and such beautiful models to paint. Yeah,
they're pretty cool. And the deflection with her and the I much prefer trolls at def 12. Putting your Northkin duders up to 15 makes it a lot harder for my elimination servitors to do their job. So elimination servitors are often quite good at removing single wound infantry and proccing Road to War, but when I'm needing 10s to hit, it's a bad time. I have to land the flare, even then I'm needing 8s to hit, and then he's got toughs to roll as well. So,
but no, it was a pretty good game, Dave, and thank you very much.
Yes, that was great, Pat. Thank you for the game, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you like the content that we're providing, go ahead and hit like on that video, subscribe to the channel. You can follow us on Facebook, comment on the video, and on our Facebook group. Don't forget, Valka is a woman. Don't let anybody fool you. I apologize for calling her the whole time. I thought she was like a Valkyrie.
Don't worry, I'll get Dave a copy of Grey's Anatomy, and we'll have a little talk about the birds and the bees between now and his next video.
So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll have some more content for you next week. Hoping to get a couple of games in the bag next week. I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks in August, so I want to have content for you later on in August. So we'll see how that goes. So thanks for tuning in.
And hopefully we see a lot of you at Attack X.
Yes, definitely.
Be there or else.
Check out Attack X. I can't remember if it's just attackx.com for the site, but look it up. I'll throw it in the
It's
description.
also on Facebook.
Yes. Awesome event. Hopefully it's not too far for you guys to drive, but would love to see you out. It's a really fun event. Lots of fun stuff.
It's worth it even if you have to drive.
Great
Come
people.
on.
Yeah, I mean, we go to Lock and Load. I think it's like 7 hours to get to Lock and Load from here. So 7 hours isn't too bad.
So Montreal, if you're listening, come on down. It's just across the country. You can make it.
There you go. So hope to see folks at Attack X, and we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Bye.